Now, it's going to be another crunch week for the government. The Prime Minister needs to sell her Brexit plan to both her own cabinet and then to European leaders. A job made all the harder by the calls from David Davis for cabinet members to rebel. Well, joining us now is the party's Deputy Chairman, James Cleverly. Thanks very much for being with us this morning. We just mentioned there, didn't we, the former Brexit Secretary calling on members of the cabinet to exert their collective responsibility and effectively mutiny against the Chequers deal. Now, you are a Brexit-supporting member of the government, so are you going to heed his call?
Well, I'm not a member of the government, so my position is a party position.
Or party
I'm Deputy Chairman of the party.
But for you're the kind of person he has in mind, then?
Well, possibly, I don't know. But the kind of people that are sitting around the cabinet table have got a fantastic position to put their ideas across, to influence the direction of government. That's what cabinet decision-making is all about. They have got the ear of the Prime Minister and the lead negotiator in terms of Dominic Raab. So they should use that position to put their ideas forward, and I would suggest that's a much more constructive and helpful way of influencing the direction of the negotiations with the EU.
So what direction would you like them to influence it in?
Well, I think the Prime Minister's position is clear, unambiguous, and as someone that campaigned passionately for Brexit, I'm very comfortable with, which is that we want a deal. We do want a deal. It's good for us and it will be good for the EU. But we want a deal that sees the integrity of the United Kingdom maintained, and that means no carving off Northern Ireland away from the rest of the United Kingdom. We are a single country and we'll negotiate in that. But of course, we do want a pragmatic trading, security, social relationship with our closest friends in the world.
You're very loyally standing by Theresa May there. I mean, you swallowed Chequers. Some of the concern now is about this proposed backstop plan, which would effectively see the UK remaining in a customs union. Are you worried about that? Could you accept that?
Well, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of people are getting very hot under the collar about what they think might be.
Well, the Brexit Secretary has been talking about it this week, hasn't he?
But the point the Prime Minister has made is that as I say, we have certain red lines, and one of them is that we are not going to stay indefinitely in a customs union. The other is that we are not going to see Northern Ireland carved off from the rest of the United Kingdom. These are things I campaigned on, things I'm very comfortable with, and things that I know she's seeking to deliver in our negotiations.
I mean, you say that it's a red line that we don't remain indefinitely in a customs union. I mean, that's pretty woolly. I mean, that just means it is not going to last forever. I mean, as a Brexiteer, surely you need a bit more reassurance than that.
Well, my position, and one of the reasons why I campaigned for Brexit, as did lots of people, is that I think we have fantastic opportunities to engage more broadly with the world. I'm half Sierra Leonean. I've got friends and family in West Africa. They were incredibly pleased to see the Prime Minister engaging with Africa on her recent visit. There are some fantastic opportunities to trade with both mature economies and emerging economies, and we absolutely have to be free to take advantage of those relationships.
Which means not a time limit.
They take time to put in place, and as long as we are able to sign and implement those trade deals as they come on stream, then I think the precise timing of how long we're in a temporary customs arrangement is something that can be up for debate, as long as when those arrangements come on stream, and they won't be instant, they'll be quick but not instant, we're in a position where we can take advantage of them.
OK. Now, I want to talk to you about universal credit. We've been talking to Ian Duncan-Smith about it earlier in the programme. This week, the Work and Pension Secretary, Esma Vae, admitted that some people will be worse off because of universal credit. The Resolution Foundation saying 3 million working families could be losing more than £2,000 a year. I mean, is the Conservative Party at risk of turning into the nasty party again?
Well, I saw some, not all, because we're in and out of makeup, but I saw a lot of this stuff.
Don't reveal all the tricks.
That Ian was saying about the foundation of universal credit, and he is absolutely right. Any benefits system is going to be complicated, it's going to be expensive, and it's going to be something that needs to be delicately handled. That's a universal truth about all benefits situations. The benefits regime that we had before universal credit was cumbersome, it was complicated, it was Byzantian, it encouraged almost errors, and when those errors made in good faith by the recipients happened, there was clawback, putting people into a really difficult place, disincentivising work. It was not a good system. Universal credit is an infinitely better system, but, and the point that Ian made, it needs to be well resourced. which is why I'm very pleased the government's committed to £3 billion in terms of the implementation for the next phase of universal credit. We have seen people getting into work, which is one of the real underpinnings of universal credit, in record numbers. And the people who...
But you can't just say that's all down to universal credit.
No, absolutely. It's not all down to universal credit, but the whole point of universal credit was that incentivised people going into work. So they felt confident that if they took a job, or a better job, or more hours, or a pay rise, that it would always make financial sense to them. And actually...
So would you like to see more money in the budget then for it?
Well, I mean, we need to make it work. The government's already committed to money to make sure the rollout of universal credit is effective. There was always that kind of pause and review system built in, so that any difficulties with implementation, we recognise there are always going to be difficulties, could be addressed, resolved, and we move forward. And the important thing, and it was right that you called Labour out on this, they have no credible alternative plan.
Well, that may not... Some people would argue that the actual policy is the important thing rather than the opposition's perspective. I'm also keen to talk to you about your brief as the Conservative Party chairman.
Yeah, sure.
Very briefly, Godfrey Bloom. Is he a member of the Conservative Party?
No, he's not.
OK, that's very simple. Clear that up for us. Thank you. Now, there's a report by Conservative Home that I wonder if you're slightly more concerned about, that you're struggling to recruit good candidates in key marginal seats. Wirral West, apparently, so dissatisfied with the people who put them forward that they've asked you to reopen applications again. I mean, are you actually on an election footing?
Well, we are building towards an election footing. We've made it absolutely clear that the changes that we are putting through in central office, that initiated by Sir Patrick McLaughlin, continued by Brandon Lewis, who obviously is my boss, that these are a long-term reform programme to make sure that the Conservative election-winning machine is just that. It's an election-winning machine, but we've always said that was going to take time. We're going to do it properly. The people that we're asking to put themselves forward for some tough marginal constituencies, excuse me, these are jobs, these are candidates that are going to have to work those constituencies for a number of years. Now, we recognise that that is imposes a degree of pressure. It's a long commitment. Not everyone can put themselves forward for that. We have some outstanding, genuinely outstanding people on the candidates list, and we want to see them get selected and ultimately elected.
So can you rule out an election if the deal's voted down, if you're so ready?
Well, my job at central office is to make sure we're ready to fight elections.
Whenever.
And that is local government elections, regional government elections, police and crime commissioner elections, and the general election when it comes. That's what we're working to, and we're going to make sure we're ready to fight any elections that come over the next few years. OK. Now,
some people see your role as trying to shake off the slightly stuffy image, perhaps, that the Conservative Party sometimes has. You're very vocal on Twitter, for example. So in that spirit, I thought that we could end with a bit of a quick-fire round.
Now,
see how you go.
These quick-fire quizzes have always been my undoing.
Football or rugby?
Rugby.
Stormzy or Stormy Daniels?
Stormzy. My wife got a selfie with Stormzy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
OK. Trump or Obama?
Obama.
Obama. Interesting. Canada or Norway?
Canada.
Full English or continental breakfast?
What do you think? I mean, I'm not... this is the stomach of a full English breakfast fan.
Merkel or Macron?
I admire them both, and they've both got a really difficult one. But I think instinctively, Angela Merkel, because she has had to deal with a considerably more challenging situation in terms of binding that country together in some difficult times. OK, well, I think you came through that relatively unscathed. We'll see. Perhaps we'll see. We'll see what the reaction is. James Cleverly, thank you.